Welcome to the Think Small podcast, hypergrowth for small businesses. So, what's slowing you down?
Well, hi again, everybody. This is Rob Godlewski with the Think Small podcast. And today our guest is Grace Redman. Grace is the founder and CEO of Dare to Achieve. Grace, welcome to the Think Small podcast.
Thank you so much for having me, Rob. I'm looking forward to our conversation today.
Absolutely. So with a business name like Dare to Achieve, I'm sure our podcast audience is really excited to know what exactly is this business. So tell us about Dare to Achieve and what problems you're overcoming with your clients.
Sure. So Dare to Achieve is where we work with entrepreneurs and creatives to help them live the elevated life, to create a life and business that they're excited to wake up to. And it's really helping them understand those unconscious stories that are holding them back from going to the next level. And we also do business consulting and speaking engagements. But my passion is working with the entrepreneurs to really help them uncover what's keeping them from moving forward.
Interesting. So more than a business coach, it sounds like that you're more of a entrepreneurial life coach.
It's both. When I work
Okay,
with my
okay.
clients doing business consulting, we really also need to start with, okay, what are your beliefs? Because the inner work is the business work. What's holding you back in your business is typically a belief that you have that's holding you back in life. So for me, there's really no separation. It's merged together, the life and the business.
Well, I appreciate that clarification. Thank you. So, Grace, tell us how you got started in this line of work and actually how you came to be the founder of this business.
Sure. So I have been the CEO of Stansbury Staffing for almost 30 years. And in that business, a lot of my responsibility was coaching and mentoring my team, my clients, our candidates. And it just felt like the next natural progression. I really felt rewarded in doing that work. And so in 2016, that's why I started the coaching side of the business. It just felt like the next natural progression, and it's been an incredible ride, a wild ride, but it's been amazing.
I can imagine. So, the staffing business, natural flow into business and personal coaching makes a lot of sense.
Yes.
So, in running a business, in either the staffing business or the entrepreneurial coaching business, clearly you've had ups and downs and times of rapid growth, but also some times of maybe when sales plateaued or even contracted.
Yes.
And relative to either business, can you talk about one of those times when business was contracting? When was it? What was going on? And how did you navigate your business or businesses through that period?
I'll give you the example of when my staffing firm faced the housing and stock market crash of 2008. In 2008, we were still a young company. We were in business for almost 9 years. And I'm very grateful that in those 9 years, we experienced tremendous amount of success.
Hmm.
And then we woke up January of 2009 with almost zero business. And that was something that was very challenging for me to accept in that moment because we had been so successful. And I allowed myself to play the victim role, for several weeks. Why is this happening to me? What are we going to do? I'm going to lose my team. Everything is going to crumble. And then I just stepped back and I said, okay, this is not how I'm going to, go out, not in this victim mentality.
Good for you.
Yes. And so what I focused on was number one, taking care of myself so that I could be supportive to the community because I wasn't the only one struggling. There were so many people who were struggling, my clients, our candidates, the community. So I chose to focus on service, and whoever needed support during that time knew that we were there to support them, even if we didn't have a position, or maybe if they weren't the right fit for the positions that we had. We just made sure that we were there to be supportive. And at the end of the year, believe it or not, yes, our numbers were hit hard and we were down, but we came out in the black because we focused on service, and that just helped, the business trickle in during a time where other agencies closed their doors.
Wow. So how did you manage the employees in the business at the time and navigate them through this this drastic contraction of revenue?
They were amazing. And one of my main employees, unfortunately, I had to cut her hours, and my other team were on commission. So thankfully, we ended up navigating it with, cutting the hours back. They understood because they weren't the only ones experiencing it. I mean, most of our clients and people in their community were experiencing the contraction, and we just stayed positive and recognized, okay, this is a storm that we're going through. These are seasons in life and business. And we focused on, I made sure to let my team know, first of all, you need to take care of yourself, and then let's see how we could help in the community. And thankfully, I had a great team working with me, and we just stayed positive, believe it or not. And I feel like that is the number one quality of high performers, is how you navigate adversity. How do you get through these storms? And so that helped me. I mean, we're also experiencing a contraction in the last few years. Had I not experienced what I experienced in 2009, I wouldn't be navigating this contraction as well as I am. Now I see the opportunities and possibilities, as opposed to why me? Why is this happening to us?
Interesting. So let's kind of flip the script on that discussion and move to a time when you were experiencing rapid expansion and rapid revenue growth. I can see the smile on your face when I mentioned that. It's a
Yeah.
lot easier to talk about growth.
It's so
right?
much easier.
It is. Again, in either business, the staffing business or in Dare to Achieve, tell us about that time of rapid growth and how you navigated the business through that as well. Because as we all know, rapid growth brings its own set of unique challenges and pressures on a business that we just kind of smile away because it's growth. But
Right.
talk to us about, when that happened to business.
I feel like we really need to be prepared for the rapid growth ahead of time, because it's very overwhelming. And when that rapid growth happens, if we don't have the team and the infrastructure in place, we're not going to be able to manage it. And I know sometimes entrepreneurs don't want to put the capital investment out ahead of time. Like, they want to wait for the growth before they make the investment. However, I feel like you need to make the investment in the systems, the team, so that when that happens, you're ready. I've been there where we've just had an influx, and it was just myself and a few other team members. We didn't have the right systems in place, and I burnt out. My team burnt out. And so what I would recommend is, okay, what are some systems? What team can you put in place to start to handle the growth that's coming?
Interesting. So being proactive rather than reactive
100%.
is your advice there, and then how you got your businesses, prepared for
Right.
those periods of growth. It sounds like you had a pretty clear crystal ball, Grace. That's
I did not at all. Again, I've been an entrepreneur for close to 30 years, and I have failed over and over and over again. And so really, I'm just sharing from my failures.
Well, no, we can certainly appreciate that. And that's really good advice, right? Be prepared for growth and not reacting to the growth when it happens, because then it's almost too late.
For sure. And I've been there. It's too late. Like, I know right now also we need to put some systems in place to handle growth. And I know we are where we are because I haven't put those systems in place yet, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Because also, if I can say this, the universe responds. So if I'm not ready, if I don't have the capacity and the space to take on new business, that new business isn't going to come.
Interesting. So let's now switch from when you decided to go out on this, speaking, consulting, and coaching business called Dare to Achieve, as an offshoot of your staffing business. Now, clearly, you're running both businesses today, correct?
I definitely have help, so I'm not running them by myself. But yes, we still have both businesses.
Still businesses are very active today. That's great. Tell us about how you took that leap and kind of jumped into that deep end of the pool, if you will.
The Dare to Achieve?
Yes.
Well, again, I enjoyed coaching and mentoring, our clients, our team, our candidates. And in 2015, I started to feel stale, stagnant. I felt like I needed something new. And again, like I said, I enjoyed the coaching piece of staffing, and it just felt like the next natural progression. And even people out in my personal life would always come to me for advice. And I am just a lifelong learner. Ever since I've been 15 years old, I've been focused on success and personal development. So really, I feel that this was my destiny. It just I happened to be ready in 2015. My kids were a little bit older. I had the opportunity to go back to school. I had a good team in place. So it just felt like the right time for me to pursue a passion that I've had since, I was very young.
Excellent. So tell us about your clientele and the types of people you're helping and how exactly you're helping them.
Yeah. So my clientele is from the individual contributor to the CEO. I'm also working with people in entertainment. So typically high performers who really are looking to be at the top of their industry. And again, the first thing we do is talk about your beliefs. Like, what do you believe about going to that next step? And typically there's an unconscious fear there that's holding them from going to that next step. And here's the contrast of it all. Typically that unconscious belief helped them create the success they have to this point, and now that's not working anymore, so they have to create a new story, a new narrative, and really step into a new identity. So that's what I help them do is, okay, you created this incredible success. Now you're paused here because that story is not going to get you from this point to the next point. So it's incredible to see their aha moments, because I had my own aha moments, not realizing that, my limiting beliefs helped me create my success. And then those same beliefs burnt me out.
Very interesting. So, but you've been running this business, Dare to Achieve, since 2015. So 11,
yeah, 10 years.
2016. Okay, 10 years. Have you noticed a rapid ramp up of revenue? Did it take you a while to get the business kind of up and running and get some visibility out there? Or tell us about that journey.
I think because I had, this is 10 years ago, and I had already started posting on social media 10 years ago, motivational quotes, business quotes. People had already known me from the staffing piece. I had already created a community. And at that time, I was focusing 80% on the staffing, 20% on the coaching. So there was a steady flow of clientele coming in on a consistent basis. But I think it's, again, because I had already been active in the community. I was already, a trusted resource. So I didn't have to really create a whole other foundation. I just leveraged the community I already had.
Yeah, I was lucky that you already had some visibility and some awareness out there in
Yes.
your staffing business to help the Dare to Achieve business kind of launch.
Yes.
That's fantastic. Well, tell us about the growth of the business. Is it where you thought it would be 10 years in?
No, I never thought we'd be where we are today. And, again, we've faced a contraction over the last few years. So I've definitely had to do some, pivoting and reinventing, especially with social media and all of the different ways to get in front of, the right audience. So we're constantly pivoting, constantly reinventing. And at the end of the day, I really believe that if you are authentic and come from the heart, it doesn't matter which platform you decide to show up on, you're going to be successful. It just takes commitment and consistency in the few places that you want to show up. I've learned that trying to show up everywhere, it's too much. I know people do it. It's just not something that works for me. So staying open to doing things differently, even if you've had success, and also really being open to rejection and knowing how to handle rejection really well.
That's an interesting point. Tell us a little bit about that, because clearly you've had to experience some rejection in this type of a business.
So I get experience rejection, every day over the last 30 years, and you just need to get up and move forward, because sometimes you feel like you need to quit, and that moment where you feel like you need to quit, it's really just, okay, take a rest, maybe have some fun, and then come back. Being an entrepreneur has been one of the most challenging experiences and one of the most rewarding experiences. It's not for the faint of heart. And I think number one quality, be open to be rejected on a regular basis and don't take it personal. You cannot take it personal. It's part of the game. And I always remember famous Amos knocked on, hundreds of doors before one person said, "Hey, I will try your cookies." So, and you have to do the outreach. And in outreach, if you reach out to 100 people, you're probably going to get 99 no's and one.
That's right, Grace. I kind of have a similar philosophy in business, and that is, rejection is part of it, and the more rejection you get, it just means you're that much closer to your next great big client.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And in business, it is a numbers game. It is metrics. And,
Of course.
especially when you're first getting started, you want to track your outreach, you want to have your systems in place. And then the beauty of that is once that starts going, then it starts coming in organically, which is an amazing place to be. But it takes, some planting of seeds and harvesting to get there. And don't ever take your pipeline for granted.
I love that advice. Talk to us more about that.
Because I've done that where just things start flowing and then I get busy and I stop doing the outreach. I stop doing, the warm connecting. And then I'm like, wait, what just happened? We contracted. Well, yes, we are in a contraction. However, maybe had we stayed in connection when things were flowing, we wouldn't experience such a contraction. So not taking your pipeline for granted, like really staying on top of those metrics and those connects.
Interesting. So your business is based in Northern California, correct?
Yes.
And do you mainly focus on businesses in your local or regional area, or are you expanding the business more on a national basis?
So for Stansbury, it's local. We've been serving the local community for, close to 30 years. However, on the
Okay.
cooking side, I have clients all over the country. I have several clients on the East Coast, definitely have local clients. I have a few clients who are in our backyard and they love to come in person, which is great, but it's just across the country. I have clients all over the country, which I love, I think is amazing.
That's fantastic, and I can see where the coaching business is more apt to be successful on a national basis.
I think so. I mean, I know coaches that coach internationally, especially now with, how we do things virtually. Although I must admit, I do love the in-person. So when I'm able to meet my clients in person, if I'm traveling to the East Coast and I get to see them in person, it's amazing.
Yeah, yeah. So, Grace, let's pivot a little bit and let's talk about both businesses, but the next 3 to 5 years, right?
Mhm.
What does the future hold for both the staffing business and the coaching consulting business?
Yeah, that's a great question. And so what we're doing now is we brought in a president of operations and growth for the staffing business, and we're looking at different verticals because we have been focusing primarily on administrative staffing over the last 30 years, and things have changed because of AI and because of the pandemic. So we're looking at different verticals to go into. One of the verticals is facilities. Another vertical is legal firms. So we're looking at growing in a different direction. And also what we're looking at is combining kind of the staffing with the coaching and consulting. So clients interested in staffing, that's not all we can offer. We can also offer the consulting and the coaching. So we're looking into kind of bridging them together and offering, the full package, the talent, the coaching, and the consulting.
Interesting. So not only are you looking to broaden the service offering to your existing clients, but you're also looking for new clients and new industry verticals to offer your existing services to.
Yes.
Okay, wonderful.
So
And
moving
how
out of
is, sorry, go ahead.
no, just moving out of focusing primarily on administrative staffing and opening it up to like different verticals.
Great. And how are you coming along on that journey?
It's good. We're planting the seeds, we're having conversations again, and also for me having to be open-minded to something new because we have been doing we are the top firm in the area. That's provides office support. However, things have changed. So it's taken some time for me to just be open-minded to a different vertical, which I think is great. It's just because I understand the office support so well, I feel like I need to also understand the other verticals we go into. But again, our president of growth and operations, great. And that's the other thing about being an entrepreneur. You don't have to know everything. It's bringing in people that know what you don't know. Like, I don't have to know everything. If our president of growth is great at, you know, he knows the facility side of the business, run with it. If, our controller is great at creating the budgets and the numbers, run with it. So that's another thing about being an entrepreneur. Like, you need to delegate tasks out that aren't your, zone of genius.
That's a very good point, and one that's kind of a common theme with some of my guests on this podcast, and that is, lean in to help
Yes.
when you need to, and not only from inside of your own company. Like you mentioned, you're president of staffing. Hire good people and let them do their job.
Exactly.
But also, well, and you run a business in this world, but look out for those people who can coach you and mentor you who aren't in your business. And you're doing that from an outside kind of perspective. But there's a lot of my guests who really lean into the mentoring and coaching. And it sounds like you're doing that to some point as well.
Absolutely. I mean, ever since I started my journey as an entrepreneur, I have always had at least one coach. And right now I have, several coaches. I have one coach for the speaking side of the business. I have, one coach that helps me just kind of on everything. And then I have other coaches that when I need something, I reach out to them. So I've always worked with coaches through my whole career. I don't think I'd be where I am today if I didn't have my coaches to lean on. They push you to that next level. They get you uncomfortable. They hold you accountable. And, if you say, I'm going to do this, and you show up to your next meeting and you didn't do it, that doesn't feel good. So.
But it does feel good to have someone in your corner that's pressuring you to, well, answer to why you didn't get it done, right?
Absolutely. I'll tell you what, I mean, it puts pressure on me. And sometimes I need to step back and say, okay, Grace, relax. It's not the end of the world if you missed, one metric this week. So, and had I not have them, I may miss more of the metrics. And also to remind ourselves, like, this is not a sprint, it's a marathon. And, I sometimes get impatient and I want the business to be where I want it to be. And I have to realize that it's a journey. It takes time to go from here to here. And also, I make sure that I integrate my personal life and my business life, which means I'm there for my family. I make sure that I work out every day. I'm not just focusing on work 24/7. So my pace may be a little bit slower, but it's because I'm focusing on other areas of my life because I've been there where I've just was a workaholic and then I crashed. My relationship suffered, my health suffered. So I'm just I'm remind myself, if you want to get from here to there, it's going to take a 24/7 and then you're going to burn out. It's not sustainable.
Mm-hmm.
But if I want to get from here to there and get there with health and get there with great relationships, it's going to take a little bit longer.
Yeah. So I'm sure your business is affected by technology and nowadays, especially AI. But you also said that in order to prepare for times of growth, you really need to get your technology in a place where your business can react positively to that growth. So what is it that the business is doing now from a technology standpoint that's preparing you for your next 3 to 5 years of rapid expansion?
I think technology is changing so quickly. Like, every time I get on a call with, my coaches and my colleagues, there's something new to look at. I think what the most important thing is to look at your systems in the business. And when I first started, I'm sure you could, relate to this. Our system was the phone. making sure that you got 100, phone calls in a week, and typically you knew what your metrics were. That's not, feasible anymore. And so the system that I'm talking about is, what type of system can you put in place where you are able to reach out not only to the clients that you've already served, but to, potential clients, and then, people that you've already served. And that is with putting in email systems in place, social media systems in place, and staying committed and consistent with those. And that takes a team to do that. And maybe you don't hire a team full time to start. You can hire someone part time. And for myself, I've really capitalized on using Upwork and Fiverr, where they're contractors and they help me do what I need to do, because right now it would be challenging to bring on a full marketing and sales team, a full system implementation team, and take it one bite at a time, put one system in place at a time, and then grow that system. I think we get lost in all of the different shiny objects in front of us. So it's important to, pick what's one system that could work for you. The most important thing is to stay in front of your audience.
I couldn't agree more. And once you get those people who are in your funnel, right, in your prospecting funnel, once they become a client or customer of your business, you've got to keep them engaged and make sure that they stay a customer. And
That's
so
right.
that's as big of a challenge as getting them into and through the funnel in the first place.
That's right.
So I certainly appreciate your efforts there. Well, Grace, this has been a great conversation. It's
Thank
been
you.
really fun learning about both of your businesses. What last piece of advice would you have for our podcast audience who are, business leaders who are navigating their business through either a period of growth or a period of contraction?
You know what I'd like to leave them with? This fact is always amazing to me. The majority of Fortune 500 companies started during down economies or recessions. And
Grace, I didn't realize that. That's an
yes,
interesting fact.
yes, that's an amazing fact. And when we're in a contraction, most people are in a place of fear. And so they're not going to take those risks. They're not going to take the time to move forward. They're going to be in a survival state. And so this is an excellent opportunity to capitalize on moving forward and looking into possibilities and opportunities when other people are, in the fear state, stuck on the shore.
Yeah, I think that's just fantastic advice. I didn't know that fact before you mentioned it, Grace.
I
So
love that fact.
I love it. I'm going to use that
Yes.
in the future. I appreciate that. Well, Grace, again, thank you so much for your time. Again, our
Thank
guest
you.
today has been Grace Redman, founder and CEO of Dare to Achieve. Grace, we wish you all the best of luck in the future, and thank you for joining us on the Think Small podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome to the Think Small podcast, hypergrowth for small businesses. So, what's slowing you down?